A very good afternoon to all my dear students. I know how eagerly you have been waiting for today's session. Even I'm equally enthusiastic to start a new chapter, a fresh start, a new session today with a new chapter, a new act, that is Indian Partnership Act. A very good afternoon, Ruchika, Aisha Sood, Ritu, Arushi Verma. Yes, this is the first class of partnership. That's correct. Shweta Sharma, Happy New Year to you as well. Pramod K, Sunil, Ananya, RP, Mahima, Yash Raj, Kavya, Swati Giri, Nikita, Soumya, Arushi, all of you, very good afternoon, children. Prasanta, Manish Jain, Sri S, Abhishek, Ankur, Mehek, Alfie Thangal, Purva, Vaderkar, Baba Saheb, Kevin, Darshan, all of you children, a very, very good afternoon. Tamanna is saying good morning, so maybe morning in your place. So Ashutosh Pani, Gundan, Raju, Ayush, Samina, Darshan Sharma, all of you. So children, I hope you have revised your Sale of Goods Act. We have already done the 3 chapters of Sale of Goods Act. I told you unpaid seller will be taken on this Sunday, that is 8th of January. Same timing we'll be holding the class. But today we will be starting with a new chapter, that is Indian Partnership Act. So before we start the chapter, I would like to ask all of you here sitting with me a basic question that I told you Sale of Goods Act 1930 was earlier part of Indian Contract Act. So Indian Partnership Act as well was part of a basic act. That act, all the provisions related to Indian partnership in year 1932 were taken out, and a separate act, like we formed a separate act for sale of goods, so that all the provisions related to the buyer seller could be incorporated under one act. All the provisions, if the buyer is doing something wrong, how the seller will behave, whether the buyer has received the goods or not, whether the seller has met with his liability, all the details we discussed in Sale of Goods Act 1930, which was a separate act that was formed. Now, my question to all my dear students is, Indian Partnership Act before 1932 was part of which act? So in 1932, I told you a separate act of Indian Partnership was formed. But do you think that it was part of any certain act? So when we used to have MCQs, this was one of the very important questions which we used to give under CA Foundation students when we had Common Proficiency Test, that is CPT. Nowadays, we don't have MCQs in exams. We generally give you descriptive questions or straightforward questions only. But it is a very important evolution of partnership. Partnership Act बना कहाँ से? जब हम उसकी शुरुआत करते हैं, उससे पहले हमें ये जरूर पता होना चाहिए where were the provisions of Partnership Act included. If you want, I can give you choices whether it was part of Companies Act, or it was also part of Sale of Goods Act, or it was part of Indian Contract Act, or it was part of Partnership Act. What act was Indian Partnership Act 1932 included before forming a separate act? Manmi Gilal, Happy New Year to you as well. Ruchika, Nitil, Lakshi Kumar, Arushi, Pragati, all of you, those who have joined, Arpita, Sherry Farha, good afternoon, children. Kevin, Surya, Ankit, Yash, Ayushi Jain, Umar, Sarvesh, Lisa Jain. Children, so many names, at times the names get skipped also, so please don't mind about that. Many a time I read children writing, ma'am, my name was not taken. So good afternoon, wishes are already over. Now let me check the answers who have sent the correct answer. Excellent, Swatigiri. Indian Partnership Act was also part of Indian Contract Act. Very good. Lisa, Mahima, Shweta, Sharma, Tamanna. Okay, that's fine. Ayesha, Sarvesh, Kevin, all of you have sent the correct answers. Great, children. Omkar is the only one sending me wrong answers, ma'am. Companies Act. Ayushi is saying Sale of Goods Act. No, child, that is wrong. Kavya says it was part of partnership only. No, it was part of Indian Contract Act. All right. Sichang, that's correct. It was part of Indian Contract Act. So all the provisions in 1932 The way in 1930 separate act was children formed for sale of goods. Now what was happening? Indian Contract Act was getting very huge. Contract का मतलब क्या होता है? Basic मतलब होता है agreement. तो agreement जो है वो contract में included थी. कोई भी offer and acceptance, कोई भी तरह का business हम कर रहे हैं. So it was part of contracts that we formed, which are enforceable by law. Any agreement which is enforceable by law is known as contract. Now, what was happening in this word contract? All the sale and goods contract was also included. The buyer and seller were also contracting under the same head. Partners were also contracting. Why partners? Because in partnership, we always form a partnership. We come together and we form a partnership by an agreement. So, सारी agreements, contracts जो भी थे वो Indian Contract Act 1872 के part थे. All the contracts were part of Indian Contract Act 1872. Now that act became so huge that partnership, sale of goods, any partners used to have a fight. They used to open that Indian Contract Act booklet and search for the provisions for partnership as well. So government thought that let's bifurcate this sale of goods. I think I told all of you during sale of goods. That's why you remembered it. So I can recall, I told you when I taught you about sale of goods that Indian partnership was also taken out in 1932 from Indian Contract Act, and a separate huge act in itself was formed so that tomorrow if partners have any fight, if partners want to see what is the terms and conditions which apply to them, how the law is regulating the partnership business that they're doing, they can simply refer to the Indian Partnership Act 1932. So tomorrow when you all grow up and become chartered accountants and you want to practice, you want to perform partnership with other CAs of your friends, then you have to refer to Indian Partnership Act 1932 and you will understand how you can form a partnership. That is what we're going to understand in these next 3-4 sessions, in which we'll be covering the entire Indian Partnership Act 1932, which is part of your CA foundation. The provisions up till which are part of your CA foundation will be covered and taught to you in this class. Understood. Evolution of partnership is now very much clear. We know how and why Indian Partnership Act was formed. चलिए आगे चलते हैं. Let's understand the basic definition of Indian partnership. What is the meaning of partnership? So children, if A, B and C have decided together, let's do a business. A, B and C were sitting for a cup of coffee. They were friends. And when they were sitting and having their coffee, they just decided, why don't we do business together? We all are, good, knowledgeable, intellectual people. And I think we can have a great business with each other. So let's do business with each other. Now, for doing business together, don't you think, children, they need to sign any contract or an agreement? Don't you think they need to have certain terms and conditions between them? Can we say that we were just sitting and we thought of doing business and partnership is set to form? No. We have to understand the real meaning and what is the real context of partnership. Say, for example, these three thought that let's do some business and they form an association of persons together. They just got, and there was Diwali function which was coming. And in this society, they thought that we'll just come together and we'll organize a function. And for that, we will be contributing different kind of amounts. And let's do this kind of event for our society people. Now, will you call that they're doing business? Are they earning any profits out of this association? They're just coming together collectively and holding a function for the upcoming Diwali festival, which was coming. And they just got together and they bought the funds and they made all the arrangements and all the society people came. They relished the food and they went off and finished. What kind of association was that? A, B, C were sitting together and they were thinking we will do something together. And this is what they did. Children, that was just forming an association of persons. People have just come together for a particular social cause, or maybe for some religious cause, or maybe for some charitable purposes when we are holding hands together. So partnership is relation between persons. ये तो समझ आ गया मैम कि लोग होने चाहिए, persons होने चाहिए. But it doesn't mean that you're simply meeting for a charitable purpose. Then what are these four joining hands for? This Mr. A, B, and C standing in front of you in this picture with their A, B, C, D, and E, fifth partner we having, and having their suitcase in hands, all their documents that they're carrying. They have thought that let's come together and let's do a business in which we will also have profits. Very, very important word, profits. A, B, and C and thought that let's do a business, and they started the manufacturing of rubber tires, and they purchased the rubber for rupees 100 and they are selling it for same price of rupees 100. Are they doing any business? Yes, ma'am, they're doing business. Are there relation between persons? Yes, there is a relation between persons. But my dear children, are they earning profits? For continuous years, they were purchasing it for 110. They're selling it for 110. They were purchasing it for 90 rupees. They were selling it for 90 rupees. The motive of profit is very important. This is a kind of a charity that I'm doing. I'm doing cost to cost, or maybe I'm buying it for 70. I'm selling it for 60. There might be losses. Losses is also part of partnership, but there should be certain motive. मेरा motive, मेरा aim तो होना चाहिए ना कि profit करना है मैंने कहा मैंने सिर्फ बिजनेस करना है, मेरा कोई प्रॉफिट मोटिव नहीं है, तो वो पार्टनरशिप नहीं है. If these people, 5 people have come together, they're joining hand, there is a relationship of between persons, they are doing business, they have decided to carry on the business, there should be a motive of profit. So what are the 3 things that we learned? Number 1, it should be an association between persons. So log hone bahut zaruri hai. Can we say companies forming a partnership? Can ABC Company Limited form a partnership with ABC Company Limited? No. We said individuals, persons have to be part of a partnership firm. Human beings, individuals. Number 1 point, clear. Number 2, we should be sharing the profits. If A, B, C, D are doing partners and Mr. E said, I will only eat all the profits of the firm, I will not give anything to A, B, C, D. Is it done? Can we call it a partnership firm? If only one of the partner, Mr. E, is eating all the profits himself and he's not giving anything to Mr. A, B, C, and D, then it will not be a partnership firm. There has to be a motive of having the profits in the firm, and also there should be sharing of the profits of the business. Third point is of a business. Very, very important point. All these points that we are marking 1, 2, 3 are very, very important because they define the context, the basic understanding what partnership is made up of. So one thing my children understood, that people have to be there. Number 2, we have to share the profits. We will not eat the profits alone. We will share it with other partners. There should be motive of earning the profits. Number 3, out of a business. Now let's take an example. Let me take your names from here. Okay, Miss Samina. Okay. Miss and Ankit Jha. Okay, Miss Samina and Ankit Jha has purchased a property in Bombay and they are earning certain rental incomes out of that. Let me clear the board for all of you. Miss Samina and Mr. Ankit Jha has purchased a property, a building in Bombay, and children, they are earning rental incomes out of that property. And a huge rental income of 50,000 per month is coming to them. And they said that, okay, we will divide this income. So Samina gets 25,000, Mr. Ankit gets 25,000. They're sharing the equal incomes. They're dividing among themselves. There is an association between persons. Can we call Samina and Ankit, S and A, are having partnership with each other? Yes, ma'am, or no, ma'am? Can we say S and A are having partnership with each other? What do you think? Definitely, Arushi Verma, you can make short notes. It becomes easier when you make notes. Even when I keep giving examples, just keep noting them and making notes of that as well. Kushal, Ashwani, Aditya, and Sarvesh says, yes, ma'am. The answer is absolutely incorrect. They are saying, yes, ma'am, they are forming partners. Why? How? Can you explain me? Lisa Jain is correct. She says no, ma'am. Ankur Verma, joint venture is different from partnership. So I will make you understand that also. As of now, just understand what I'm talking about. Ashutosh, I told you in the beginning of the class, unpaid seller will be done on Sunday, that is 8th of January. So Miss Thomas, same goes for you as well. So we will be taking up Mr. Kevin, the Sale of Goods Act topic, that is left unpaid seller, that will be covered on Sunday. Excellent. Sunil Sharma says, no, ma'am, they are co-owners. Very good. Artificial person create partnership. Mr. Omkar, no, it has to be an individual who will be only creating a partnership. Nitil Soni says, no, they are co-owners. Akshita, Ankit, Shweta, Miss Thomas, Surya Kumari, all of you are correct. Kavya is wrong. Kushal Jain is wrong. So all those who said no, ma'am, no was the correct answer for this specific question. Children, why? Because now I will make you understand it's okay if you were giving incorrect answers. That is why I'm here to correct you all, right? So here, children, why I said they're not forming a partnership? Because they're not doing any business. I told you they have purchased a property. They have jointly owning the property. Such kind of people who are just dividing the rental incomes are known as co-owners. आपने और मैंने जॉइंटली दिल्ली में एक घर खरीद लिया, तो क्या हम पार्टनर्स बन गए? क्या हम कोई बिजनेस कर रहे हैं? No, ma'am, we are not doing any business. Third point, business is very important. If we are just sharing the profits and we are association of person, does not mean that we are into partnership unless and until we are doing any business. If the same people S and A, Samina and Ankit only, and both of them did not answer. I could not see your answers. Huh? We are taking your names and not even answering. So S and A thought that this is a good rental income that we are getting. Why not let's start purchasing the properties and let's start a business of sale and purchase of properties. What did I say? If the same people S and A get into the business of sale and purchase of properties, then if they are relation between persons, they are sharing the profits out of that business, they are doing business, which is carried by all or any one of them acting for all. That is the fourth point. I will explain you in a while. And let's assume they are doing this as well. Then yes, it will be considered as a partnership between S and A. So in any form of organization, in order to conclude that this form of organization or the association between persons is a partnership or not, we have to see if all these 4 or 5 ingredients are present in the partnership or not. Carried on by all or any one of them acting for all means either you are doing business or I am doing business, but we are liable for each other. Let's take another example. A, B, C were doing business together. A went and met their client, Mr. D, and he cracked a deal over there. He said he was very happy to meet Mr. D and he fixed a contract. Mr. D said, okay, fine, I will pay the firm revenue of 10,000. And he made the advance payment for the same. Now, children, A, B, C are partners. Do you think Mr. A will alone eat all this 10,000 or he will divide it among each other? What do you think? Mr. A is 100% liable to divide this profits. We just understood we have to share the profits of the business. Whatever revenue is coming, one of the partners only eats all the profit. Here, Mr. E was eating. We told you it is not a partnership firm. So if it is a partnership firm, all the profits have to be equally divided among A, B, and C. So even if A went and did the business, B and C also ate the profits. Similarly, if Mr. A had to pay something to Mr. D, say for example, he has incurred a liability and now he has to pay 15,000 to Mr. D. Mr. A has incurred a liability. There is a creditor, Mr. D, whom we have to pay 15,000. Can Mr. D recover the same amount from B and C as well? The answer is yes, because a relationship of mutual agency. What did I say? A relationship of mutual agency exists between all the partners of the firm. We are mutually liable for the actions taken by each one of us. So if you are a partner with my firm and you do any business outside, I am also liable for that. Why? Because you're acting on my behalf. हम इकट्ठे हैं, हम partners हैं, we are joined together. Whatever one partner is doing, the other partner is also liable. Whatever one partner is earning, that share also that the other partner will eat. This is the literal meaning of carried on by all, or any one of them acting for all. So even if one of them is acting for all, that is Mr. A is only acting, then also B and C will become liable. You cannot say that A had a liability of 15,000, he will only pay, we will not pay anything. This cannot be done. So let's take another example. I'm so sorry for my throat, children. So PQR were three partners in a firm. Now listen carefully. PQR are three partners in the firm. Mr. R purchased furniture from Mr. A. Mr. R purchased furniture for the purpose of business. They thought that we are setting up a new office. PQR was setting up a new office and they wanted to buy certain kind of furniture for their office. So Mr. R went and purchased furniture worth rupees 10,000 from Mr. A. And he said the payment will be made in 1 month period. Now 1 month has lapsed and the payment was not made. So this angry Mr. A came to the shop, came to their firm to recover the amount. Mr. R was not available at that time. So he said, ask Mr. P and Q, please pay my 10,000 rupees. So children, do you think P and Q are liable to pay 10,000 rupees to Mr. A? Yes or no? Do you think, children, P and Q are liable to pay rupees 10,000 to Mr. A? Yes or no? Because Mr. R purchased the office furniture, P and Q are also liable. Yes or no? Miss Akshita Kanitkar, the question that you have written, I will just be taking it in a case study in a while. So it will get answered over there. Yes, Simran, unlimited liability is good. That is great. That is what happens in case of partnership. Mr. Bharat Chaudhary, all the units of sale of goods have already been uploaded on the portal. You can please go and check it from there. Profit and loss both will be divided. Yes, Ankur Verma, that is correct. There exists a relationship of principal and agent between partners. Very good, children. Profit sharing will happen as per the ratio that is decided. That is bilkul theek. Absolutely correct. Okay, yes, ma'am, due to mutual agency, Mr. Sarvesh, Suchang, Ayushi, Sunil, Pramod, Pragati, Gufran, Ayasha, Vadekar, Baba Saheb, Abhishek, Ayesha, Diti, Ruchika, Arushi, Ankit, Mishra, all of you are correct. Aditya, Tanmeet, Kushal, Pragati, Nikita, Aishwarya, Purva, Sarthak, Kevin, Aditi. Yes, P and Q are liable. That is good. Mr. Raju, Himanshu, Alfie Tangal. Very good, children. All of you are correct, children. Yes, because the partners are mutual agent of each other. Now, what is the meaning of mutual agent? That means whenever you go and do any transaction on behalf of the firm, I will also be liable as a partner. Whenever I go and do any business, you will also be liable. So you can write down one line. All the partners are principal as well as agent for each other. All the partners. That means if I do something, principal is liable, principal have to show the profits and losses as per the ratio which they have decided. Miss Ritu Kumari, that's correct. Mr. Mukesh Yadav says no, ma'am, that is incorrect. P and Q will also be held liable. So, children, all these ingredients are basically known as characteristics of partnership. These are the elements of partnership that we just discussed right now. So, definition of partnership itself is made up of all the elements of partnership. Ankit Jha has a very interesting question for us. If this office furniture was purchased for personal use, so let us go back to the same question. So children, Mr. Ankit is asking if R has purchased this furniture for his home, for his personal use means for his home or maybe for his relatives or anybody else. Then will P and Q be held liable, yes or no? You have to tell me. I think there was some network error in between. I hope you got my question now, children. So children, if I have purchased this office, not for office furniture, I have purchased this furniture for my home, then also P and Q will be held liable, yes or no? Again, so many answers. It's drawing of tea. Yes, Purva. Mukesh Yadav, incorrect answer. And others, those who have answered no, ma'am, he will not be liable. That is correct. Bharat, Arpi, Aisha, Kushal, Ankit, Aishwarya, Pramod, Ritu, Mahavir, Purva, Alfie Tangal, Samina, all of you are correct. Yash and Mehak Roy. Why? Because you're not liable for each other for personal businesses, whatever you're doing for your personal purpose. For that, you cannot hold the partners liable, right? So the liability of partners is limited only to the extent of their business. Clear ho gaya? When we do section 19 to 26 in detail, we talk about mutual agency. We have so many examples coming up over there. So all those who are writing the questions, agar usko puche bina kara hai, agar uske bina le jaakar kara hai, profits, personal profits share kar liye hai, if he's eating all the personal profits, all these points will be covered, children, under the chapter number 2 as well as 3. So as of now, we only have to understand that the partners are liable for each other. Whatever one partner is doing, the other partners are also binded by that. It's binding means the other partners are also held equally liable for the transaction of the business. So let us quickly wind up the elements of partnership. Number one element we have discussed, it is an association of 2 or more persons. So if I told you that company is joining into partnership, that cannot happen, ma'am, because human beings are important and minimum 2 people are very, very important. If children, you as a person, Mr. Ankur Verma, if you are running a shop, a grocery store, and you have hired a person, Mr. A, in your shop, you have hired a helper, Mr. A, in your shop, and you're paying 5,000 rupees per month to this Mr. A. Can we say Ankur Verma and Mr. A is having partnership with each other, yes or no? Can we say there is a person, Mr. Ankur Verma, who is running a grocery store and he thought that business, that he's a sole proprietor, he's an individual who is doing the business. And since he was expanding his business, workload has become so much that he have hired Mr. A and he's paying him a remuneration. Remuneration means he's paying him salary of 5,000 per month. Can we say since Mr. A is getting a share of profits from Mr. Ankur and Mr. A are partners, yes or no? Swati Giri, Ankit Mishra, Ruchika, Ankit Jha, correct answers. What about others? Shweta, Aisha, Shruti, Kushal Jain, Mahima, Nanya, Purva, Tamanna, correct. No, ma'am. Personal nahi le sakte hain. Yes, Mr. Mukesh Yadav, that is also correct. You're talking about the previous question. Personal liability will not be liable. That's correct. Lisa Jain, correct. They're not partners. Amina, Puranajay Singh is correct. Sri, yes. Aisha, because it's a sole trading concern. Excellent, Miss Purva Joshi. Miss Thomas, very good answer. Mr. A is an employee, not partner. This is what I was looking for. Sunil Sharma, yes, correct. He's only hired staff. No partnership because he's worker. Mr. Kushal says that. He will only be an employee, Miss Simran. Mrs. Aisha, he's hired for salary, not for share of profits. Alfie Tangal, no ma'am, because there is no contract between them. Contract is still there, Alfie Tangal. I have signed a contract with you. I'm hiring you as my employee. But the important point here was he's your employee. He's not your partner. Very good, Mr. Bharat Chaudhary. Correct. Ankur Verma, correct. Mr. A is not my partner. He's saying if I'm paying him. Yes, Mr. Ankur Verma, that's absolutely correct. He does not become your partner just by you paying him a remuneration. So what is he actually called? He will be known as your employee. So it is not just by hiring someone for the purpose of business and you're paying him amount. People generally think that we are paying him out of a share of profits, then only you will pay him. But that doesn't mean that he become partner. He only become a partner when you sign an agreement. That was correct when you're talking about having a contract. That is also correct, Elfie Tingle. But that is not just the only criteria. You should be having an agreement. Very good. You should be doing business together. Now, Mr. A is not doing business with you. Tomorrow, if Ankur Verma suffers losses, how is Mr. A bothered? Mr. A will get his remuneration of 5,000 per month. So there must be an agreement in order to become a partner, and they will be doing business together, and they are holding each other liable for the act of one of them or all. So if Ankur Verma does any business, goes out and meet the dealings with the Mr. D, then Mr. A employee will not be held liable for those dealings. He is only concerned with his salary and remuneration. So all the points are collectively to be seen. Anushka Jaiswal, correct. Trish Raj, Mahima, all of you are correct, children. And I'm so happy that so many of you are sending answers today, and that also correct answers. So keep it up. This is how you do your brainstorming when we try to figure out small questions. अब कहने को सिर्फ 5 elements है, learn कर लेंगे आप लोग, समझ आ जाएगा आपको. But these kind of questions, this interrogation, who is a co-worker, how association of persons is happening, it makes the picture very, very clear. And when you jump into the references, it will be on your tips. You can simply answer the differences because we are doing each and every point of difference in the characteristics of partnership. All right. Sunil Sharma, artificial person. When we talk about company, we learn what is an artificial person over here. Here in partnership, we are talking about the natural persons. Okay, Ms. Tanmeet Kaur, that's good. Great. Let's move ahead now. So partnership is an association of 2 or more persons. So minimum 2 people can be in partners. And what is the maximum limit? Now, children, maximum limit has a lot of interrogation, doubts, and questions in their mind. So the limit for the maximum number of partners is defined under Companies Act 2013. So if we refer to Companies Act 2013, the Bear Act has given the limit of maximum number of partners, that is 100. Now, children, what happened? From time to time, the act is amended, and many a time the rule book is made. So if you refer to Companies Rules 2014, there the maximum limit that they have now set up is 50. So whenever we have to take a decision regarding certain kind of things, we have to refer to the latest amendment. So as of now, 2014 की जो latest amendment आई थी, उसके बाद से कोई भी update नहीं हुआ है. So we will always assume that the maximum number of cap limit of 50 has been given by the amendment rules. Therefore, we can restrict the maximum number of partners to 50. However, Act gave the eligibility up till 100 partners, but as of now, the rules have given the maximum cap limit of 50. You cannot go beyond 50. So maximum is 100, but the cap limit that has been given by rules is 50 partners. All right, let's proceed further. The partnership must be the result of an agreement entered by all the persons concerned. Now, it's very important, children, that we have an agreement when we form a contract, when we come together as partners. That agreement might be oral or maybe in writing. That is completely up to the partners to decide. But there are certain advantages when we have the partnership agreement in writing. Now, say for example, if A, B, and C were partners, and they have decided that the profit sharing will be 2:1:1. And firm had the profits of 8,000 tomorrow. So now these 8,000 were to be divided 2,000, 2,000 and 4,000 to Mr. A. This is what the ratio says. 2:1:1. So 4,000 should be given to Mr. A and 2,000 were to be given to Mr. B and C. This is the ratio that they have decided. Depending upon the capital that they have bought in or the kind of business they are doing, they have decided this profit sharing ratio to be followed. But when the actual profit distribution was done, Mr. A was given 3,000 rupees only. Mr. A really felt bad. He said that you have made an agreement with me and you told me that this profit sharing will be happening. And now, as per the records, the P&L account is showing the profits of 8,000. So why aren't we dividing it as per the profit sharing ratio? So this angry Mr. A went to the court. Now, when he went to the court, don't you think it's always better to give a proof in writing? Let's assume they have made the partnership agreement in oral. So won't it be very difficult for Mr. A to prove it, the evidence in the court that where it is written? What were the terms and conditions? Have you written it in writing that the profit sharing will be 2:1:1? So law says in order to have certain evidence in hand, in order to prove the things in the court, it is always valid and better to have the written agreements. Although law has given you the liberty to have a partnership deed in oral also, but still the name of the partners, the profit sharing ratio, all these details has to be mentioned somewhere so that tomorrow, in order to prove your point, you have the evidence in hand to prove it in the court of law. All right. Partnership must be to share some business. So point number 1, we have understood there should be people, minimum 2, maximum 50, and there should be an agreement. And the partnership is organized to carry on some business. If we are just selling it on the cost, we're not doing any business, we don't have any motive of earning profits, then it will not be a partnership. Number 4th point also, children, you have understood that we should be sharing the profits. If only one partner is eating all the profits, that is not acceptable. Any ratio they can decide to share it, but they must share the profits. And we have understood the 5th point also, business must be carried on by all or any one of them acting all. This means the principle of mutual agency should be present between the partners. Principle of mutual agency means that we will be liable for whatever actions are taken by another partner. I will also be held liable as a partner. All right. So now what is the true test of partnership? So if anyone asks you in the exam, what are the elements of partnership? You will simply give this definition. Section 4 defines the partnership and these are the elements of partnership. Elements of partnership, 6 marks question. If examiner asks you, obviously you have to write 2 to 3 lines of each point. You can even give examples, whatever examples we have just discussed. You can also make a note of those examples and you can mention them, as well as the examples given in the study material. We'll also covering that in a while. Now, children, partnership is very, very interesting. He has told you 5 basic elements and characteristics, and this is what partnership is all about. And these are the 5 things that make the partnership firm complete. Then what is the meaning of section 6? What is something that we are going to do over here? He says, let us have a true test of partnership. Law says, you told me, ma'am, number of partners, that's fine. We are sharing the profit and losses. We have transferability of share. We have bought in the capital. Our liability is unlimited. Legal entity. We are having an agreement. We have mutual confidence. Now, what is the meaning of mutual agency? Basically, a mutual confidence and trust relationship. In PQR example, you cannot say that P and Q will say that we did not like the furniture that Mr. R has bought. Why don't you just go and hold Mr. R only responsible for that? हमें तो वो furniture नहीं पसंद आया जो Mr. R लेकर आया था. Can P and Q say that? No, you have to have trust and faith on each other. If one person is doing any transaction with third party on the behalf of firm, you have to be very careful for that, and you have to hold yourself liable the same way as other partners are holding themselves liable. So it says a mutual trust and confidence is very, very important when you're talking about partnership firm. अब ये म्यूचुअल ट्रस्ट की बात आती कहां से? बिकॉज इंडिविजुअल्स आर इन्वॉल्व ना चिल्ड्रन. Emotions, human natural feelings, human feelings are involved in partnership. That's why partnership, it's very easy to form a partnership. It's all between an agreement. You just sign an agreement, you decide that you'll be sharing the profits, and partnership is formed. But law says, how will you make a true test? Like we just did, that co-ownership was different. You also told me, ma'am, when you're hiring an employee as a sole proprietor, that is different because we were not sharing the profits. Then what is the true test? Okay, fine. We made an agreement. Yes, ma'am, we made an agreement. Are we doing the business? Yes, we are doing the business and we are sharing the profits. It says sharing of profits is a prima facie evidence. देखने में लगता है. Prima facie evidence means, all those who are asking the meaning of prima facie evidence, prima facie means apparently. What you see on the face of it. So Harleen ma'am made partners with started doing business with Miss Tanmeet Kaur and Mr. Sunil Sharma. So we said that 50% share will be given and divided will be done. So we all will share equally, and Miss Tanmeet gets the share of profits, Sunil gets the share of profits, and I get my share of profits. But we are not holding each other liable. We were not having the principle of mutual agency present. Can we call ourselves partners? Law says then no. You will not be partners. Okay, the sharing of profits is prima facie evidence, but not the conclusive evidence. In order to conclude finally, in order to take a final decision, the relationship of mutual agency has to be seen. Is Tanmeet Kaur holding Harleen and Sunil liable for her actions? Is Harleen holding Tanmeet and Sunil liable for her actions? Then yes, you all are considered to be a partnership firm. But if mutual agency is not present, children, then just on the basis of agreement and sharing of profits, you cannot call a concern a partnership firm. So even if all these elements which are written down in the points, capital, unlimited liability, mutual confidence, वो कहते हैं ये सारी चीजें अगर है भी हैं आपके अंदर, but mutual agency is the main conclusive evidence. Section 6 clearly tells you that if you don't have mutual agency among each other, if you're not holding the partners liable for your actions, then you cannot call it a partnership form of organization. Clear ho gaya? So only an agreement is not important. Now, agreement in itself is also very important. Let's say that we are sharing the profits and we are holding each other liable, but we don't have any agreement among each other. Then anyways, ma'am, it's not a partnership firm, because basic fundamental rule of agreement and sharing of profits to partnership mein hone hi chahiye. If there are no terms and conditions, we have not made any agreement, we are not doing any business together, then it will never be a partnership firm. All right. Now, very important case laws, section 4 and section 6. These are the case laws which we are going to cover from the study material. All right. Okay, children. So this is chapter number 1, unit 1 of chapter 3, that is Indian Partnership Act. What all we cover in this chapter is your definition of partnership, and this is what we have just discussed from the presentation, essential elements and true test of partnership. After this chapter covers your basic points of differences, that how partnership is different from a company, how it is different from a club, What is HUF and why it is different from the partnership? How it is different from co-ownership and the association of persons. We have to discuss all these 5 different organizations, how they are different from a partnership firm, why we can't call them partnership. And then we have types of partners, sleeping partner, active partner, all these types of partners will also be covered in this chapter. Definition of partnership we have already done. Let us do this definition of partner as well as the meaning of a firm. Now, if A, B, and C, children listen carefully, A, B, and C have decided to get an agreement signed between each other and they're going to share the profits and they're going to do the business. And the business is being carried by all or any one of them acting for all. That means they are having the principle of mutual agency between each other. Then this A, B, and C are known as partners. क्या बोलोगे आप इनको? members नहीं बोलते हो. कंपनी में जब आपके डायरेक्टर्स शेयर होल्डर्स होते हैं, we call them members. But in partnership, we call the persons who have come together to do the business are known as partners. And collectively, we call them firm. Together, ABC are known as firm. So when we say ABC Associates, this is the firm's name. So the name under which they are doing the business is known as firm's name. So what is firm? Together, all the partners are known as firm. Firm कोई अलग से नहीं होगी. आपने जो ऑफिस खोला है उसको आप फर्म नहीं बोल रहे हो. आप जो सारे पार्टनर्स हो, आप सबको इकट्ठा कर फर्म बोला जाता है. All right. So A, B, and C are together known as firm, and the name under which they do their business is known as firm's name. So association of 2 and more persons, the first characteristic we have already covered. Only point left over here was a minor cannot be a partner in the firm, but if all the partners allow, we can take him for the benefits of partnership. Children, what is the meaning of benefits of partnership? Benefits means only for the profits, only for जो भी business से वैसे फायदा हो सकता है. A minor can only have those profits from the firm. He will never be liable for the losses. You can write down this line over here. Benefits of partnership means a minor can only enjoy the profits in the firm and will never be held liable for the liabilities of the firm. So here you can see the cap limit of maximum number of members that they have written, that is 50 in case of Companies Amendment Rule, that is 2014. It says section 464 has defined the maximum cap. It's a Partnership Act is silent about the number of members. Companies Act has defined, which says a limit of 50 partners in any association or partnership firm. So any partnership you are forming, maximum numbers can only be 50. Agreement has to be the result of an agreement. It's very important to have a contract with each other. It relates to voluntary contractual nature. The nature is voluntary and contractual, means willingly. What is the meaning of voluntary, children? Free consent. किसी के दबाव में आकर आप partnership नहीं कर सकते. It should be your own choice. So you can define voluntary means out of your own choice you can come into partnership, and there should be a contract. An agreement from which the relationship arises between the partners may be expressed. Either we can have it in writing by words spoken or written, or it can be implied from the acts done by the partners. Very, very interesting. Now, if you have made an oral partnership, at least there will be certain actions taken by you as a partner. You might be signing certain agreements with the clients. You might be opening a bank account. You might be having business transactions with your name. कुछ तो conduct होगा ना partners का. And from a consistent course of conduct being followed, which shows that there is a mutual understanding between the partners. It says agreement might be oral or in writing. but there should be certain transactions, a consistency, the conduct of the partners make it clear that they have mutual trust and confidence on each other. All right. After that, the business point we have already discussed. The only two things over here are the business should be there and the second motive of profit should be there. The motive should be acquiring the gains. Underline this line, there can be no partnership if there is no intention to carry on the business. So if we're just sharing the profits, we're just having the rental incomes, we don't do any business, we don't have the motive of profits, then it will not be called a partnership. Agreement to share the profits. There can be no partnership where you're only taking the whole of the profits home. So this Mr. White, who's just eating all the profits, taking all the profits home, then this will not be a partnership firm. Sharing has to be done among all the partners. It is open for the partners to agree to share the losses. They can decide how they have to share the losses. Generally, the losses are also shared in the same profit sharing ratio. And the last point is that the business should be carried on by all or any one of them acting for all children. This is the cardinal principle, means this is the heartbeat of your partnership law. If mutual agency is not there, if you're not binding the other partners, then you cannot call it a partnership firm. So just go through these essential elements from the study material and we'll take a small break. After the break, we will discuss two important case laws, that is K.D. Kamar and Santi Ranjan Das Gupta also. Both the case laws will be covered today and then we will start with the points of differences. So let's take a small break here. All right, children, welcome back. I was just going through your queries. All right. If we have invested in the business, then what will happen? I'll be a partner. Mr. Ankur Verma, see, if you're investing in the business and you're joining hands with another person, then only child you become a partner. If you're investing and starting your own business as a sole proprietor, then how can you call yourself as a partner? So what we have to see is whether you are investing and doing a business alone. What do we call if a single person is doing business? He will be known as a sole proprietor. That's correct. Now you thought that I want to expand my business and I need people to join in so that they can join hands with me, and you made partners. Now either you keep employees. If you keep employees, they are not partners. But if you have made partner to someone else, then you are signing an agreement with them. All right. Yes, children. So if you're talking about just investing in the business, investing your capital and starting your own business, that is a sole proprietor. Only when other partners have signed an agreement with you, other terms and conditions are satisfied, then only we can call it a partnership, provided we have an agreement, we are doing the business, we will share the profits, and we have the principle of mutual agency present among us. All right, so all the points together has to be seen. Ashutosh, you're asking acquisition of gains. Acquisition of gains means, children, to acquire the gains, to earn profits. Acquisition of gains means to earn profit. So if I'm just opening the business, A, B, and C have decided to do the business. They are opening the business of manufacturing rubber tires, but they only manufacture and sell them at the cost. They are doing the business without any profit motive. Then will you call it a partnership? No, it is not a partnership. Unless and until you have a motive. The motive means the purpose. The aim of doing the business should be to earn profits. Not just you're selling at cost and you're not earning profits. You're doing charity. So if A, B, and C have decided to open up, have decided to do a business and they're just doing it for a charitable purposes. An NGO they have opened, they're running an NGO and they're just doing it for charitable purposes. They're providing food, clothing, and shelter to poor people. Then they're not doing partnership. They're not doing business. Sharing of profits is not there. Then it will not be known as a partnership. It will be known as an association of persons which has come together for a charitable or religious cause. Lisa Jane, joint stock company means a company, which we will be covering in a while when we discuss the points of differences between partnership and company. All right. And just let me open the study material also for you. Swati Giri, I hope acquisition of gains is now clear, child. They invested money in startups. Mr. Kevin, so again, there is a difference between an entrepreneurship as a startup if you're doing the business or if you're entering into partnership. So when I teach you about companies, I'll be teaching you about one-man company as well. So even a single person can now start up a company of their own. So if you're a sole proprietor, if you're one-man company, it does not mean you are partnership firm. For partnership firm, all the basic 5 elements have to be present. Minimum 2 persons have to join in order to form a partnership firm. If you're alone investing and starting up a business, then you're a sole proprietor. Arushi Verma, date sheet kab aayegi? Admin related queries you have to address to the ICI directly. I will not be able to answer you about that over here. All right. And we will definitely do your writing ki class. Aap bol rahe ho how to write the answers. I told you when we do the descriptive case studies, we have already been doing the mock test papers and sale of goods also. Whenever we do those case studies, I'll teach you how you have to write the answers also. The word unless bothers me a lot. I'm not understanding the word unless otherwise. Okay, Mr. Sunil Sharma. unless otherwise agreed generally has the meaning that apart from what is written in the section. So if we both have made a separate agreement, then that agreement will prevail and not the section which is written in the act. So we have to read this line in whole context. You cannot simply ask the meaning of unless. So you have to write the correct full sentence which you have not understand. Then only I will be able to tell you how it is framed in that particular sentence. Yes, again, Mr. Ankur Verma, if you're investing with other persons, they're signing an agreement with you, you are holding yourself liable. See, if you are purchasing shares in a business, do you become partner in a business? No, it's different. You're investing in shares. So investing in business, have you signed an agreement? Are there other partners? Are you liable for other partners? Say, for example, you took 5,000 shares in Reliance. Now, do you become a partner with Reliance? If Reliance is suffering loss, will you also suffer loss? Definitely, you will suffer loss for the share that you have invested. But tomorrow, Reliance fails to make the payment. Will they come at your home and will ask you, you also make the payment? नहीं होगा ना ऐसा. Principle of mutual agency is not there when you're investing in certain kind of shares. But if you are partner with a firm and your other partners do some business and they have a liability of 1 lakh rupees, which they are not able to pay on their own, you will also be held liable, and that too personally also liable, because under partnership, your liability is unlimited. All right. Thank you, Mr. Abhishek Vishwakarma. He says, crystal clear, ma'am. That's great. Mr. Kevin, prima facie means, which is apparently, आपको on the face of it, जब मैंने कहा कि we are sharing the profits, then it is a prima facie evidence. This is the line which generally bother the children. Sharing of profit is very important to constitute a partnership, but it is only a prima facie evidence and not conclusive evidence. Then what is the conclusive evidence? वो कहते हैं profits आपने share करा, वो तो समझ आ गया partnership है, but sharing of profits can also happen from the property. Ma'am just told you right now that in co-ownership also you're sharing the profits. But does that mean that it is a partnership? No, it says in order to have a strong test of partnership, we must see the principle of mutual agency is present or not. So why the co-owners were not partners? Because we were having an agreement. We are holding the property together. We are association of persons. We are dividing the profits also, the rental income. But why we were not partners in that? Because we were not binding each other liable. In our example, when we talk about Mr. Ankit Jha and Samina, who were having the rental properties from a joint property in Bombay, was Samina liable for Mr. Ankit Jha's action? No, they were only sharing the rental incomes. So that is why it says prima facie means dekhne mein jo lagta hai, apparently, which is visible. That sharing of profits means it is a partnership firm. I've invested, I'm getting the profits, it's a partnership. But conclusive means in order to finally conclude whether a form of organization is a partnership or not, we have to apply the test of mutual agency. All right. Let's move ahead. So the task becomes difficult whether there is no specific agreement or agreement does not specifically speak. Therefore, testing of existence of partnership, section 6 has to be referred in detail. But before we go to section 6, we have to do a very interesting case law, that is KD Kamath and Company. Now, what does this case law say? Are your queries over or are you still sending something? Kavya V, whatever the new amendments will be covering in this session for 2023 as well. Alfie Thangal Mastan, very interesting question. Which type of relationship between the partners? So it will be definitely an official relationship. Any relationship between persons cannot be defined as partnership. So if there is a husband and wife relationship and they are just sharing the profits, whatever they're getting from the business, but they're not doing any business together, does not mean that they're partners. So the relationship has to be seen whether that relationship between people is for doing a business or not. Yes, Arushi Verma, they are known as co-owners. Yes, Pramod K, you can write examples in exam as well. Kushal Jain, all the lectures get recorded on YouTube, so don't worry, you can check them from there. Subject to the provisions of this act or any other law for the time being in force, this line means that whatever is written in this respective act, that is something which is applicable. So you have to read the further line also, Ankit Jha, along with this subject to the provisions. Owners of a company are also partner. Mr. Ankur Verma, when we go to company, we'll understand how the company is formed. As of now, partnership firm may we have partners. Okay. Company is different, partnership is different. We will be understanding how they're different today. Nikita, Miss Nikita is saying cardinal principle. Cardinal principle again means the major, the basic, strong test of partnership is mutual agency. So when we say the cardinal principle is the mutual agency, that means this is the main conclusive evidence. We have to see whether there is a binding contract between the partners or not. Act of one partner is in fact act to follow the partners. Each partner is principal and agent. As far as they're binding the other partners, it is known as the partnership firm. If children A, B and C, okay, let me ask you a question. Mr. Lokesh is saying, मैम कभी कभी हिंदी में भी बोल दो बेटा, मैं तो इतनी ज्यादा हिंदी यूज कर रही हूँ, कभी कभी मुझे डर लगता है वो इंग्लिश स्टूडेंट्स को प्रॉब्लम ना आए. So आपको जो भी समझ नहीं आया मिस्टर लोकेश, आप पूछ सकते हैं. I will explain you that point, okay? But entire lecture cannot be taken in Hindi. Sorry for that. We have to take care of all the category of students. Partnership can be formed by contractual relationship. And yes, Mr. Sarthak, that's absolutely correct, because we only sign an agreement, either an oral agreement or a written agreement, but contract has to be there when we are setting up a partnership firm. All right. Now let's move forward. Own desire, free consent. That's correct, Ritu Tiwari. This is what is the meaning of voluntary, out of choice. Very good. Okay. Thank you so much, Ankit Verma and Mr. Ankit Mishra. Thank you. So, Ms. Nikita, I hope cardinal principle is clear to you. So, yes, I was throwing a question at all of you listening to this cardinal principle. So, now listen carefully. A, B, and C are the partners. And since the children are very hungry, so let them take to the chocolate or bakery shop. A, B, and C has opened up a shop of bakery, and they're making cakes and selling cakes. And they're earning huge profits out of this. But whatever transactions are done by A, B and C will not be held liable for that. Or whatever is done by Mr. C for the business, whatever wheat, flour, everything that he's purchasing for the business, Mr. C will only pay. A and B are not liable for that. And whatever Mr. B does, he only pays for that. A and C will not be liable. Can we call A, B, C are partners in a firm? Yes or no? And why? Will you call them partners? You have to tell me. Can we call them partners? Yes or no? Yes, Miss Mahima Jain, answer it now. Is forming partnership a contract, Mr. Mahavir? Definitely, contract is mandatory. That's why we told you that partnership was taken out from the Indian Contract Act only, because a contract and agreement is important. Very good, Lisa Jain, Anushka, Ankit, Simran, Mahima, Kushal, all of you are correct. No, ma'am, because principle of mutual agency is not there, therefore it will not be partnership. Now you keep baking the cakes, you keep sharing the profits also, you have signed an agreement also. You will not be called a partnership if you are not binding each other, if you are not holding each other liable for your actions. So mutual agency has to be seen, which is very, very important. अब जब हम company की बात करेंगे, in company there is no mutual agency. I just now told you with an example that if you have purchased shares of Reliance, then tomorrow if Reliance has to make certain payment, he will not come and ask you that please pay my payment because you have invested 5% shares in my company. No, there is no mutual agency in case of company. Very good, all those who have sent the answers with explanation. Excellent. Simran, Pramod, Mahima Jain, Purva, Baba Sahib, Sunil, Pragati, Kevin, Ayushi, all of you are correct. Nabin, Tanmeet, Vignesh, Ruchika, Sarthak. Good. So let's move ahead. And there were certain examples also. I hope you have read these examples, children. Co-owners, because the rental income is coming. There is no business, therefore it is not a partnership. Charitable institution or a club. If you're running a club or a joint stock company, it does not mean that it's a partnership firm. It is only an association of persons. X and Y buy certain bales of cottons. Now there are two people, minimum two people. Yes, ma'am, the first condition is satisfied. Have they make an agreement? Yes, ma'am, they have made an agreement. Are they sharing the profits equally? Yes, ma'am, they're sharing the profits. Are they doing the business to sell on their account now? So they're doing certain business. Yes, ma'am, they're doing business. X and Y will be held partners. Now, if X purchases certain cotton, Y will also be liable for that. That is why principle of mutual agency is also there. Therefore, X and Y will be held partners for such cotton business. If X is not liable for Y's action and Y is not liable, then you all have answered correctly. Then it will not be a partnership firm. Now, what happened, children, in KD Kamath and Company was that this company went to income tax officer, getting themselves registered as a partnership firm. क्या बोला मैंने? KD Kamath and Company went to income tax officer. So this case was filed with the ITO, that is income tax officer. This case was filed and they said that please registered us as partnership firm. And they said that we are 6 partners along with KD Kamath. We are doing business. We have an agreement and please register us. We want to get ourselves registered as a partnership firm. But ITO refused to register them. ITO said, there is no agreement between the partners. There is only one person, Mr. KD Kamath. He is only doing all these kind of things. He's running the entire business. How can you say that you are a partnership firm? So the case went on till the Supreme Court. So how the case goes to Supreme Court? First, we have fights at district level courts. Then appeal is made at High Court. And finally, when nothing comes out, the highest authority, the Supreme Court, the case is taken till the level of Supreme Court. So जो Supreme Court की judgment होती है, वो final judgment होती है. So whenever we talk about Supreme Court cases, it's a very, very important case law. So it says Supreme Court held 2 essential conditions. Supreme Court ने कहा 2 चीजें देखनी है हमने. Was there an agreement to share the profits? And was the business carried on by all or any one of them acting for all? Court held that even if the exclusive power and control is in the hands of one of the partners, that only one partner is operating the bank accounts or he is borrowing money on behalf of the firm, this is not the thing that we have to see. We to have to see 2 essential conditions, that whether there is sharing of profits. Yes, ma'am, there was sharing of profits. KD Kamath was sharing the profits with other partners. He was having an agreement. Was KD Kamath and other partners having mutual agency relationship among each other? Yes, ma'am, whatever KD Kamath was doing, other partners were liable. Whatever other partners were doing, KD Kamath was also liable. Therefore, even if one partner, उसने ITO ने क्या बोला था? नहीं जी, आपको register नहीं करेंगे, आप sole proprietor. ITO told him that you're a sole proprietor because you're only one partner who is doing all the business operations. You are doing all the bank accounts are in your name, and you are only borrowing money on behalf of your business. So how can we say that you are having, the exclusive power and control is only in your hand? Only one partner is behaving as an active partner and running and here and there and doing the business. How can we call you a partnership firm? Your appearance of the firm seems as a sole proprietor only. So Supreme Court held that this is not something that has to be seen even if one of the partners. So if there are 4 partners, A, B, C and D, only A is doing the entire business. All the bank accounts are in the name of Mr. A. Mr. A is having the borrowing authorities. Mr. A is doing for the business dealings. Then can you say it's a partnership firm or not? So law says हमने ये नहीं देखना Mr. A क्या करे, हमने ये देखना है कि was there an agreement between A, B and C and D? Are they having principle of mutual agency? Then yes, even if Mr. A is doing everything, let them keep doing. It is a partnership firm. So here in this case, even if KD Kamath was having the entire control in his hand, he was only doing all the banking operations, he was only having the borrowing authorities. But since there was an agreement for sharing of the profits and There was a principle of mutual agency between the partners. Section 4 test was applied and it was concluded that this firm is KD Kamath and Company, can be registered as a partnership firm. All right. So mutual agency relationship is the cardinal principle, means that if that principle is existing ना, तो फिर हमने और कुछ नहीं देखना है, हमें समझ आ गया sharing of profits के साथ cardinal principle is being followed of mutual agency, then you will be held as can be registered as a partnership firm. Now what happened in Santi Ranjan Das Gupta, वो अलग केस था. पहले तो हमने ये समझ लिया सेक्शन 6 फिर से वही बात कहते हैं, ट्रू टेस्ट में सिर्फ 3 टेस्ट जरूरी है, एग्रीमेंट होना जरूरी है, शेयरिंग ऑफ प्रॉफिट्स एंड कैरिड ऑन बाय ऑल ऑफ देम. हाँ, हिंदू अनडिवाइडेड फैमिली, बर्मिस बुद्धिस्ट हस्बैंड एंड वाइफ कैरिंग ऑन द बिजनेस, दे आर नॉट पार्टनर्स, दे आर डूइंग फैमिली बिजनेस, दैट डज नॉट मीन दे आर पार्टनर्स बिकॉज देयर इज नो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. अब हस्बैंड एंड वाइफ ने हिंदू अनडिवाइडेड फैमिली के मेंबर्स है तो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट थोड़ी ना साइन करा है उन्होंने कि मैं आपसे शादी कर रही हूँ जी क्योंकि मैं आपके साथ बिजनेस करूंगी. बट हाँ, एक man and women ने contract sign करा है that let's come together, we'll do the business and we'll share the profits, then obviously the ingredients of partnership are present, then it becomes a partnership. But just being a member of Hindu undivided family, the lady is a homemaker and the male is the karta of the family, doesn't mean that they become partnership. It is a different kind of a family business. शेयरिंग ऑफ प्रॉफिट्स के ये जो ABCD पॉइंट दिए हुए हैं, वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, मार्क कर लेना. इनमें से कई बारी डिस्क्रिप्टिव केस स्टडी भी आ सकती है एंड यू शुड नो द मीनिंग ऑफ ईच एंड एवरी पॉइंट. So number 1, if I ask you lender of money to the person engaged in any business, so if I'm lending money to the people, doesn't mean that he become my partnership. Sharing of profits कहते हैं, कैसे हो सकता है share of profits? You might be receiving the profits as an employee, as a remuneration. Remember, Mr. A was getting as a servant. I have hired him. I'm paying him remuneration. Does he become my partner? No. Any people who have lent me money, bank has given me loan for doing my business. Does bank become my partner? No. Any person who has lent me money for doing my business, he does not become my partner. A widow or a child of deceased partner. Now, this is very interesting. There were 3 partners, A, B, and C. Mr. C died. Mr. C had wife, Mrs. C. A and B made an agreement that after death of Mr. C, there was an agreement that when Mr. C will die, an annuity will be paid to Mrs. C. Now, if they are paying annuity, a certain kind of annual sum, annuity means an annual fees, annual sum payment is being done to the widow or child of a deceased partner. अब ये जो एन्यूटी पे करेंगे बिजनेस के प्रॉफिट्स में से करेंगे ना. Say for example, they had 10,000 rupees profits and they have decided that annual fees that is to be paid, 2,000 is the annuity to be paid to Mrs. C. This was the agreement that was made with A, B, and C. Now, children, will Mrs. C become partner in the firm just because of this annuity payment being made to her? Yes or no? Mr. Darshan Sharma, where is your query? Which agencies? Please write again, Mr. Darshan Sharma. Your query is not clear. Ritu Tiwari will be covering HUF. Don't worry. You have to tell me, children, Mrs. C will become partner in this firm, yes or no? Mr. Nabeen, your answer was correct for the previous one. Okay, Kushal Jain, Abhishek, Anushka, Pramod, correct answer. Which sale agencies are you asking, Mr. Darshan Sharma? Please write it again. Why she will not become Abhishek Vishwakarma? Correct, because they're not carrying business with her. Mr. Vadekar says yes, Pragati says yes, Ruchika says yes. No, children, not at all. Why are you saying yes? How will Mrs. C become partner? Is she doing business with us? Are we sharing the profits with her? Is Mrs. C liable for what Mr. A and B are doing? Mutual agency है इनके बीच में, तो ये सारे points नहीं है, तो फिर कैसे बना दिया आपने? Just share of profits does not make the person a partner. This is what we are doing over here. Okay? Very good, Anushka, Surya, Liza, Purva. And I feel very happy when you give me wrong answers because then it becomes clear for me to tell you why it is wrong. Sarthak, you're also wrong. I hope now you're clear about this point. Mr. Sarthak is saying, yes, only if there is provision regarding death of partners. Bhai, agar humne ye provision diya that Mrs. C will become partner, then only. We are not making her partner over here, okay? C will not be partner, bilkul theek. She is only a beneficiary. Yes, Mr. Sunil Sharma, that is also correct. Where this agency is written, Mr. Darshan Sharma, which agency you want to understand and what you want to understand about this agency. Here you simply have to mutual agency. It is not MU sale agency, it's mutual agency, which means that if you are a partner in a firm, then whatever actions you take, other partners will also be held liable for that. So you will not just eat the profits of the firm, you are also liable for the liabilities of the firm. So principle of mutual agency का मतलब होता है कि अगर एक पार्टनर कोई भी काम करता है तो दूसरे पार्टनर्स भी उस काम के लिए लायबल होते हैं, मींस वो भी उसको पेमेंट, थर्ड पार्टी जो है उनसे पेमेंट रिकवर कर सकती है. All right. By a previous owner or part owner as consideration for sale of goodwill does not make the receiver a partner. So if you're selling the business and you are making the payment for the goodwill, does not mean that you become the partner just because of the share of goodwill that you're getting. Yes, Mr. Abhishek, all the points have to be covered. Then only the person can become a partner. That's correct. क्लियर हो गया शेयरिंग ऑफ प्रॉफिट्स. नाउ लेट्स क्विकली, प्राइमा फेसी एंड कंक्लूसिव एविडेंस भी क्लियर हो गया. अब आ जाते हैं प्रिंसिपल ऑफ म्यूचुअल एजेंसी. ये सेम बातें बोल रहा है. सेक्शन 6 सेज ऑल द पॉइंट्स हैव टू बी टेकन टुगेदर. रियल इंटेंशन ऑफ द पार्टीज हैज टू बी कंसिडर्ड, व्हाई, वेदर देयर इज अ पार्टनरशिप एग्जिस्टेंस और नॉट. कार्डिनल प्रिंसिपल मैं आपको बता चुकी हूँ. जैसे हमारी बॉडी का कार्डिनल पार्ट हार्ट को जो होता है, हमारा हार्ट बीट करता है तो पर्सन अलाइव रहता है ना, ऐसे म्यूचुअल एजेंसी अगर है तो पार्टनरशिप अलाइव है. अगर हमारी म्यूचुअल एजेंसी नहीं है, हमारे अंदर ट्रस्ट ही नहीं है, कॉन्फिडेंस ही नहीं है, चिल्ड्रन, पार्टनरशिप, आई टोल्ड यू, इट इज बेस्ड ऑन ह्यूमन फीलिंग्स. सो इफ देयर आर A, B and C, 3 पार्टनर्स, ध्यान से सुनना. Mr. A does not like B and C. B hates Mr. A and C. He doesn't want to look at them. He doesn't have faith in them. Whenever Mr. C goes and do any transactions outside with third parties, A and B are always doubting him. They're always having fights with each other. They don't even sit together. A is always fussy about the furniture that he has bought from his home and he doesn't allow anyone else to touch it. Can you call it a good partnership? Can we do business like this? Law says absolutely no. There is a business point of view when you're talking about partnership. You have to have trust and confidence with each other. आप अगर लाइक ही नहीं करते हो एक दूसरे को, मिसट्रस्ट है, फेथ नहीं है, डाउट्स है, then you cannot do business as partners. Law will only not allow you. Section 44, court will only dissolve your firm. So it's very important, mutual agency. That's why we are known as cardinal principle, that only if this agency is the mutual rights and liabilities are alive, then only we can hold partnership alive. So it is very helpful in reaching a conclusion. Every partner is carrying on the business as principal and agent, means if I am doing the business, my other partners are my agent. If they are doing the business, I am acting as a principal, they are acting on my behalf. What is the meaning of principal and agent? Do you know the meaning of principal and agent? Remember a mercantile agent whom I used to hire if I am doing business in Chandigarh and I've hired a mercantile agent in Pune. So he was doing all the business on my behalf. That is a separate agent that I've hired. Don't confuse it with the partnership agent. To that agent, I was paying a commission. He was doing business for me. He was not my partner. But here, when you are my partner and you do any business, then also you're acting on my behalf and I am responsible for your actions. This is the meaning of mutual agency. Now, Santi Ranjan Das Gupta versus the Sran Murzamul Supreme Court judgment. Now, what happened in this case? There was a fight that, this should be considered as a partnership firm, and whatever one party has done, other party is liable for that. Mutual agency में हमने अभी यही पढ़ा. तो इन्होंने भी किसी टीचर से पढ़ा होगा, संती रंजन दास गुप्ता ने, और ये पहुंच गए सुप्रीम कोर्ट के बताने कि देखो जी हमारा तो पार्टनरशिप रिलेशनशिप है and the other party should make the payment because we hold liable each other. But Supreme Court reached on the conclusion that there is no partnership between the parties. Why? Supreme Court said that there were no records of your terms and conditions. They went and checked their agreement. There were no agreements. There were no terms and conditions which prove that both of them are partners. They have maintained no accounts of their own. When the court went for inspection also there were no books of accounts. No bank account has been opened in the name of partnership firm. अरे भाई अगर आप पार्टनरशिप कर रहे हो तो फर्म के नाम पे कुछ तो बैंक अकाउंट ओपन होगा ना. So there was no bank account in the name of firm also, and no intimation was given to the deputy director. So children, whenever a new partnership is formed, you will understand in this third chapter that we have to inform to the deputy director of the particular state that new partner is being hired or any other partner has died or whatever change in the partnership constitution has happened. So there was no such intimation given to the deputy director. So law said just on the basis of mutual agency also you cannot conclude. The agreement is the basic context. If there are no terms and conditions which make you clear as a partner, you cannot simply judge on the basis of partnership if you have a principle of mutual agency. So संती रंजन दास गुप्ता के केस में उसने कहा था कि पार्टनरशिप फॉर्म नहीं है आपकी. क्यों? क्योंकि उन्होंने 4 फैक्टर्स दिए थे. नंबर 1, आपकी टर्म्स एंड कंडीशंस पार्टनरशिप की एग्जिस्ट ही नहीं करती. देयर वाज नो रिटन रिकॉर्ड, देयर वाज नो रिटन एग्रीमेंट. Second, there were no books of accounts which was showing there was no business transaction done between them together. There was no client calls. There was nothing to show the record that these people have acted together as partner. And no bank account has been opened with the name of partnership firm. Also, no written intimation was sent to the deputy director. So on the basis of all these 4 points, it was concluded that Santi Ranjan Das Gupta was not a partnership firm. It was only a sole proprietor. Therefore, you cannot hold the other party with whom they have simply made an agreement with another party for a particular transaction. And now they were trying to make him liable. So this kind of thing was not possible because Supreme Court clearly ruled them out that since there was no terms and conditions and no partnership is existing between both the firms and it was only a sole proprietor firm. क्लियर हो गया. सो सेक्शन 4 एंड सेक्शन 6 आपने लर्न करना है, रीड करना है, दोनों केस लॉज अच्छे से समझकर नोट्स बनाकर. इट शुड बी इन योर टिप्स व्हेन वी मीट इन द नेक्स्ट क्लास. नाउ वी विल मूव टू द पॉइंट्स ऑफ डिफरेंसेस व्हिच इज अगेन वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. अब आता है आपका, चाहे आप जॉइंट स्टॉक कंपनी कह लो, चाहे आप कंपनी कह लो, इट इज वन एंड द सेम थिंग. Let us now move to the points of differences between Nabeen, Anushka. Which point number D are you asking? Point number D of sharing of profits. That point was simply saying if any money lender, if any person has borrowed money or when you're selling the business, any payment for the goodwill is also being made, it does not make you a partner simply because any share of profits that you're receiving does not make you partner. You have to see whether there is an agreement, principle of mutual agency, whether you're doing business together or not. Okay. Shweta Sharma, Deputy Director वाला point जब हम registration of firm में जाएंगे, there you will understand in a better way. As of now, you simply understand that no intimation means there was no information sent to the Deputy Director of the particular area that whether they have joined a new partnership firm or not. Mahima Jain is saying, ma'am, if there is an oral agreement, yes, that is why Mahima Jain, I told you that written agreement is very important in order to prove your point in court. If there is an oral agreement, then it depends upon the circumstances of the case, how the point has to be proved or shown in the court. Alfie Thangal, if partners are doing illegal business, then obviously law will take a great action against them. Illegal business, unlawful business is not allowed, neither under Indian Contract Act, nor it is allowed in your Indian partnership. You cannot do anything which is illegal. Okay. Somebody was asking if the number of partners exceed 50, then that is not allowed. Law will take an action against you. The firm has to be closed, dissolved, because the maximum number cap limit has been fixed to 50 as per the company rules. All right. What is the difference between company and a partnership firm? Company is an artificial legal person and partnership is not a legal entity. Very, very important and very, very interesting point. अब आज आपको एक डिफरेंट सी बात सुनने को मिलेगी कि कंपनी exists in the eyes of law. Partnership firm में children, if there are 3 partners, A, B and C, and if all the partners I told you collectively are known as firm, if A, B and C, all the partners die, what will happen? A, B and C will come to an end, yes ma'am or no ma'am? Jaldi batao. Thank you so much, Mr. Sunil Sharma, for such a nice message. I'm highly obliged that you enjoy understanding this. Thank you. Partnership is not legal entity. Yes, Miss Simran, that is correct. That is what I'm telling you. Partnership is not a legal entity. So first answer me, if A, B and C are 3 partners and if all of them die, what will happen? Will the partnership firm still continue? Yes or no?
Sure. Taking a screenshot.
Yes. Will they exist? Can you say the firm will still continue to exist? Yes, the firm will continue to exist. Okay. Oh my God. Mahima Jain says partnership will destroy. No, ma'am, it will come to an end. Lisa, Kushal, Pramod, Pragati says no, ma'am, no, ma'am, no, ma'am. No, firm will not continue. Alfie Tangal says it will be closed. Ritu Tiwari says yes, ma'am, it will continue. Simran Mahavir says yes, ma'am, it will continue. Sarvesh says yes, ma'am. Okay. So all those who have said yes, ma'am, it will continue. I hope my voice is audible. Yes. All those who have said yes, ma'am, it will continue, children. I just now told you that A, B, and C are collectively known as firm. We are only the individuals who started the firm. We are the 3 partners. We are only known as ABC Associates. Don't you think if all these partners have died, the firm khatam ho gayi, closed, dissolved, end? We were only known as firm. If we don't exist, how will the firm exist? Firm is not a legal entity. It means firm does not have its separate existence. Likh lo. This means partnership firm does not have its separate existence. This means partnership firm does not have its separate existence. All the partners are together known as partnership firm. So अगर partners ही नहीं रहेंगे तो firm भी नहीं रहेगी. But A, B and C were directors as well as shareholders in the company, and they have formed a company, A, B, C and Company Limited. A, B, C and Private Company Limited. 3 members है ना. Public के लिए we need 7. So A, B, C and Private Company Limited was the company which A, B and C were running, and now A, B and C, all of them has died. Will A, B, C private companies still continue to exist? Yes or no? Let me test your knowledge. Definitely, we will do all the examination question paper of December 22, Abhishek Vishkarma. Don't worry. But first, we'll complete the chapters and then I try to jump to the suggested answers and mock test papers. Ankur Verma says it will go to nominees. That is altogether a separate story. What will happen, whether they are inheritance or whether their sons or daughters are going to take up the firm, that is altogether a separate story. Legal representatives, again, Ashutosh. Here we are simply understanding whether 3 of you were partners and you have formed the firm. When you 3 are not there, firm will also get closed. But now my question is, yes, ma'am. Okay, all those who have said yes, ma'am. Yes. So all those who have said yes, the company will still continue to exist. That is absolutely correct. Mr. Ankit Jha, the question that you have sent, whether only two of the partners, one has left, that is dealing with your general partnership and particular partnership. When we do types of partnership, there this question will get answered. All right, Pramod, Swati, Kushal, Kevin, all of you are correct. Mahima, Anushka, Sunil, Alpitangal, yes, it will continue. Why? Because company has its own separate existence. अब ये सारा जो हम Companies Act पढ़ेंगे ना children, it is based on a very, very important case law, and one of my favorite, that is Salomon versus Salomon and Company Limited, in which it was proved that if A, B, and C are the members of the company and they have formed ABC Private Limited, then this company is different from its members. ये members अलग है, company अलग है, company की property अलग है, members की property अलग है. But in partnership, we are together. अब समझ आ गया, अब नहीं बोलेगा. So ABC opened a firm collectively known as partnership firm. They died, firm also died. A, B, and C opened a company. Company is different, members are different. Members die, company still remain. In order to end the company, you have to get its name striked off from the registrar of companies. Company has a separate legal artificial existence. So company is not a natural person. It is not running here and there. ये नहीं कि Reliance company है तो वो company खुद चलकर dealing कर रही है, अपना काम कर रही है. Obviously, it is being run by human agency. Behind the company, there are always individuals who are running it. But you can sign with the name of company. Company can file case in its own name. Company can be sued by its own name. Why? Because company is different and the members, shareholders who have opened up this company are different. Company gets a corporate legal existence. Okay, so we have huge case laws when we come into companies where we will, where we will be understanding that why company has a corporate legal existence, how the company is different from its shareholders. As of now, अभी हम partnership में है, तो ज़्यादा company में नहीं जाएंगे. सिर्फ हमने ये understand करना है कि partnership is not a legal entity. Partners only make up and make the firm. When partners are not there, firm will come to an end. Perpetual succession means continuity. The partnership firm does not have perpetual succession. When partners die, firm also comes to an end. But company has a perpetual succession. Business studies class 11, 12 में पढ़ा होगा आपने. All those from commerce background. This is the basic things which we try to teach you in companies and partnership. When you start with your commerce from class 11 and 12, that company has a perpetual succession, means it has a continuous succession. It continues to exist unless and until we get its name strike off from the registrar of companies. Clear ho gaye first 2 points. Registration, company has to get registered under Companies Act 2013. So it's a legal entity, it's a corporate existence. You have to get that thappa from the companies. You have to go to the Companies Act 2013 and you have to do all the formalities for getting yourself registered. But under partnership, registration is not compulsory. Why? Because it is guided by the Indian Contract Act and Indian Partnership Act. So whatever is written in the Partnership Act, we'll follow that along with the provisions of Indian contract. Why Indian contract? Because partnership was taken out from the Indian contract only. So जो इसका base है, जो इसका foundation है, जैसे आपका CA foundation आप ले कर रहे हो अपना inter and final से जाने से पहले आपका foundation हो रहा है, ऐसी partnership and sale of goods का जो foundation है, वो Indian Contract Act के अंदर दिया गया. So registration companies में it is must to get yourself registered. Partnership में there's certain benefits that you get if you're a registered firm. Again, chapter number 3 will tell you those benefits. But as of now, just understand it is not compulsory. Number of members. Private company can have maximum 200 and minimum 2 members. However, public can have unlimited number of members, but the minimum should be 7. They can also be OPC. What is OPC, children? One person company. So tomorrow, if Mr. A is a sole proprietor, he wants to open up a company. Can he open up a company? Yes, ma'am, he can open OPC. When we go to Companies Act, we'll understand what all conditions needs to be satisfied in order to open an OPC. आज OPC के बारे में नहीं पढ़ेंगे. आज हम सिर्फ partnership के अंदर ही restricted रहेंगे. But if I ask my children that if there was a private company having 500 members, can we do so? So आपने बोला private companies, 2 people were together, A and B came together and they open up a private company, minimum 2 were there, and now we have reached a limit of 500 members. Can a private company have 500 members? Yes or no? Yes. Can we have 500 members in private company? Okay. Yes, Nikita, that was correct. Private companies will continue to exist. Thank you, Ayushi, Miss Ayushi Bothra. I'm glad you're loving the subject. This is what I ultimately want all of you to love the subject. And definitely, Mr. Abhishek, partnership is a very important part of your accounts chapter also, and you understand this kind of conditions there as well. Kushal Jain, what you want me to repeat? Yes, Ankit Jha, your understanding is correct. Regulation means, Sunil Sharma, regulation, rules and regulations means whatever the provisions have been given, we have to follow that. Ankur Verma, conversion of partnership firm to company, altogether a separate story. Yes, you can convert, but this is not covered in part of your CA foundation. This is your CA Enter. We teach you how to do the conversion. No, ma'am, in private company, we cannot have more than 500 members. We cannot have more than 200. Surya Kumari, you have written we can't have 500. Yes, because the maximum cap limit is 200. Thank you, Mr. Sarthak Mohanty. Thank you, Miss Siri. Yes. I love when you children say that you're loving the subject. So that is important. So children, learning is also important in law. You cannot say हमने law समझ लिया तो बस books बंद and पढ़ाई होगी. Learn तो करना पड़ेगा because you need content to write over there. And for that learning, falling in love with your subject is very important. So I feel happy when you write that, yes, now we are loving the subject because children, positive vibes have to be there. If I love the subject, I'll definitely score well in that because I have created interest for myself in studying. So somebody was just writing a message to me, ma'am, when you give us chocolate examples, bakery examples, so interest gets revived. So good, keep revising along with that and keep a chocolate for yourself nearby also. Target yourself that I'll complete one chapter today and I'll treat myself. Always build the aura for your studies. The atmosphere should be very happy and positive, children. CA is a kind of a study which needs a lot of hard work. You all know that padhai to karni padegi. You might have to leave your family functions at times. You might be sitting and locked in yourself in a room and others might be enjoying and you feel very pinched at times. Yaar, ye kahan phas gaye yaar? Padhna pad raha hai hame to. But staying motivated along with your hard work at that time is something which is going to pay you in long run. So always try to keep your aura and your surroundings very, very positive and happy whenever you're studying. These kind of tips will definitely help you to reach your CA final and clear it with a happy. All right, let's come back to the number of members. So private company, you all were right because maximum 200. So if I tell you 250 also or 201 also, then also we cannot have unless and until the maximum cap limit is exceeded. As per Companies Act, in case of partnership, minimum 2, maximum 100 I told you, but as of now we are following 2014 rules which has restricted the limit to 50 partners. Distribution of profits. In companies, are we distributing the profits? So will Reliance come and tell you that we have received so much crores of profits, you also take certain amount of profits? No, you only get the dividends. In case of company, you only get the dividends which are declared out of profit. Even if the company is having any losses, it might impact you, but you will never get the division of profits. However, in partnership, you're distributing the profits as per the partnership deed. What is partnership deed, children? The agreement that we are talking since morning. It is also known as partnership deed. In company, I told you the property is different. Partners, members' property is different. Only you get it back in the form of dividends or a fund of capital. So company ki property different hai, members ki property different hai. Here, the firm's property is the joint estate of all the partners. Now, children, if Mr. A has bought the table and chair from his home for his office, and Mr. B has put nice fancy lights in the office, can you say that Mr. B will switch on these lights only when he is in the office? Or can you say that only Mr. A has the right to sit on this table and chair which he has bought from home? Answer is no. I told you in partnership, we don't have to fight. We have to trust and love each other. All the partners are equal and it is a joint estate. B can also use this table and chair. A can also switch on these lights because it is the joint property of all the partners. It is not that property is different, firms property is different and partners property is different. If you have, I'm talking about these things that you have bought for the business. If you have bought, Mr. A has bought a table for her child at home, it has a separate story. That is not to be used by Mr. B. Only we are talking about the official things. So any firm's property, whatever you have invested in the firm, it is considered as the joint property of all the partners. Transfer of shares. Shares of a private company can be transferred. However, in partnership, you cannot transfer your share without the consent of other partners. So if A, B, C are partners and having A and B are partners having 50-50% share, and tomorrow B said that I will transfer my share to Mr. C, he cannot do so without the consent of Mr. A. He has to take permission of Mr. A before transferring his interest in the partnership to another person. However, in case of private company, the shares can be transferred. How the transfer of shares happen? Part of Companies Act. When we do Companies Act, we learn it over there. Liability, very important point. In partnership, your liability is unlimited. So if the liability of the firm is 1 lakh rupees, let's assume that the firm is getting closed and the liability, outstanding liability is 1 lakh rupees. However, the assets of the firm were only 50,000. And there were two partners, A and B. Can you say that we will pay 50,000 and then go home and sleep? What about the balance 50,000? Who will pay that? 25,000 A will bring from his home and 25,000 B will bring from his home in order to pay off the liabilities. A and B are personally liable for the firm's liabilities. That means liability of members in a partnership firm is unlimited. Unless and until all the liabilities are not disposed of, even the firm, if the firm's assets are only 50,000, then A and B has to bring their personal assets or have to bring their money from home and pay off this liability of 1 lakh rupees. This is the meaning of unlimited liability. However, in case of a company, your liability can be limited by shares or by guarantee. So company limited by shares means if, for example, I have invested in the shares of a company and there was a share of rupees 10 per share. Now, if you have paid rupees 8 per share, now whenever any liability occurs in the case of company, you will only be invited to pay up till rupees 2. That is the amount unpaid on the shares. If you've already paid 8 rupees on the share, then only 2 rupees is left. So company will only invite you and call you, send you the share application and allotment money for only rupees 2. Or maybe if it is a company limited by guarantee, what is the meaning of all these companies limited by shares and guarantee? हम Companies Act में भी करेंगे, तो घबराना नहीं कि अभी 1 मिनट में समझ नहीं आ रहा. अभी हम सिर्फ डिफरेंसेस कर रहे हैं. पार्टनरशिप फर्म की जो लाइबिलिटी है वो अनलिमिटेड, बट कंपनी की जो लाइबिलिटी है इट कैन बी लिमिटेड बाय शेयर्स in case of company limited by shares and in case of a company limited by guarantee. Now, what is company limited by guarantee? Say, for example, Harleen ma'am, Mr. Sunil and Ms. Tanvi, we formed a company. Sunil has given a guarantee that whatever happens in case of the liability, I will pay rupees 10,000. Now, if the liability of company is 50,000, we will only ask Mr. Sunil to pay rupees 10,000. Why? Because he has given the guarantee of rupees 10,000. He cannot be invited to pay more than that amount. This is the meaning of companies limited by guarantee. So, abhi ke liye kitna yaad rakhna hai? In case of company limited by shares, your liability is limited up till the amount unpaid on the shares. In case of company limited by guarantee, you can be invited to pay only the amount guaranteed by you. By you means by a member. Okay. And they can also be unlimited liability. Relationship of agency, you tell me now. Do we have agency relationship in company? No, ma'am. Member is not an agent of a company or of other members, but in partnership, we are agent as well as principal of other partners. Here, directors take part in the management. In partnership firm, do you have directors? You all are equal partners. All the partners have the right to take part in the management of the firm. How do you wind up the company? A company is wind up by National Company Law Tribunal, or we have to struck off its name from the Registrar of Companies. NCLT kya hota hai? That we understand when we do companies, that is National Company Law Tribunal, a court which is set up for resolving all the issues of the companies. So if a company has to be closed, application has to be made to National Company Law Tribunal and all the steps given by it has to be satisfied. However, under partnership, it is not that complicated. We can simply dissolve the partnership at any time whenever the partners agree. So if ABC thought that we don't want to continue the partnership firm, they can think of closing the partnership firm, they can close it. So by any agreement, the partnership firm can come to an end. All right. So differences between partnership and company is, I hope, clear. Other differences we will do in the next session. If you want, we can do certain MCQs. Thank you, Mr. Pramod K. Thank you, children. Thank you so much. So we can do certain MCQs. We have 1 or 2 minutes. Ek do to kar hi sakte hain. Otherwise, you can send your queries. A firm is the name given to all the partners, the minors in the firm, business under which the firm carries on business, or the collective name under which it carries on the business. Answer thinking, test your knowledge. Question number 1, you have to answer me. Miss Mahima Jain, there is no confusion in the limit of number of partners. Why? Because 1, the limit of partners is given under Companies Act 2013. So that limit is 100. I just now told you that the Company Rules 2014, the amendment came. So now the present limit, jo abhi tak restriction lagi hui hai, that is 50. So if you ask me which limit we have to remember, so you simply remember the maximum number of partners as of now should be 50. Okay, thank you so much, Shreyas, Ritu Tiwari, Ankur Verma, Nikita. Thank you, children. And the answer for the correct one is Aisha, Shweta, correct. Sarvesh, Swati Giri, Sarthak, Nikita, all the Akshay Kumar, Sunil, all of you are correct. So D, question number 1, answer D, part D is the correct answer. It is the collective name under which the firm carries on the business, means that is the meaning of firm. All right, children. You want to do one more, we can do. So what is the true test for partnership as per your section 6, business, sharing of profits, agreement or mutual agency? Which is the true test of partnership? Which is the true test for partnership? I hope you all know this answer by now. Somebody is saying A, somebody is saying C, somebody Tamanna is saying B. Aisha Sood is saying D. Abhishek, Tanmeet, Aisha Sood, Nikita, all of you are correct. Mahima is correct. Ankit is correct. Ritu is correct. Gufran is again wrong. Ankur is also wrong. So children, what is the true test of partnership? Generally, I just now told you that all these points have to be present in order to confirm that it's a partnership firm. But the cardinal principle, mutual agency, is must. So if we are having business, if we are sharing the profits, we also made an agreement. But if mutual agency is not there, it will not be concluded as partnership. So the true test for partnership is mutual agency. It is the cardinal principle. Section 6 mein humne abhi samjha hai. Sharing of profits is a prima facie evidence. But if mutual agency is not present, then we cannot conclude it to be a partnership. So I think we'll stop here because you need to revise before you do your MCQs. Anyone wants to ask any queries? Yes, Kushal Jain, your answer was also correct. Okay, I hope we have answered all the queries in between also. All right, children, your homework is that you have to come revised with this section 4 and 6, whatever we have done. Differences should also be done today. And on Friday, we'll try to complete out this chapter. That is chapter number 1 of Indian Partnership Act. All right. Thank you so much. All right. All the queries are done. All right. Clear. Thank you. All right, children. Goodbye.